Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. This is indeed how would you say, an out of chronological order video that I'm popping into the line of the Dome sequence of videos to give you a bit of an idea, and as a response to a question or suggestion or request that was made. I am doing the, how would you say, I'm showing almost like a diary type of entry, the development of my understanding of an ability to draw domes such as this. As such, it is a diary of day-to-day, week, month or year progression in understanding how to draw this style of dome. Ordinary domes, I would actually suggest you go elsewhere and source your information from people better than I that can describe geodesic dome geometry and structure, etc. However, I do think in the dome building community around the world, this is not one of the domes that is explained a lot, and I will even take it on the chin to say that even my, I think now, fairly refined way of drawing the dome may not be the correct one, but it is a jolly good one, and it seems to, well, to be fair, seems to be quite good, and I suggest some people may benefit from it. What I am doing also specifically is I want to differentiate between describing something and prescribing something. Almost entirely I will be describing different aspects of a dome, or not just domes, but I will be very reluctant or won't prescribe something. In other words, I won't say, oh, you use this and it will work. It has to be up to your due diligence and discretion what you use, and in some cases perhaps you need to find advice from someone more knowledgeable, and I'm thinking of a structural engineer, because these sorts of structures at the sizes that I'm contemplating are not to be considered or looked at with a frivolous eye to safety. So therefore, I want to make sure that you find out what works in your jurisdiction. So that's why I'm a little bit very reluctant to actually prescribe what does and doesn't work. In fact, if you follow the videos, you will see that I've got a little bit of a paranoia about the type of hub design, the structure of that hub and its impact on safety. And you will see that the videos have been concentrated around the hub design, and in particular the centre steel tubular hub that then has the fixtures of different types into the timber struts themselves. I'm moving away from that, not because I don't like it, because it is, or was, and still is my preferred hub design, but I'm moving towards the idea of creating in the workshop myself these plates, very similar to the star plate hubs made by other people, other companies. Are similar in a lot of respect, and therefore, you can draw parallels, but certainly you can't then say, well, the performance of, in this case, I think it's Viking domes. I've got no affiliation with anyone, but I think theirs is one of the nicer dome or plate connector. So there's that, but I have to create mine to suit the geometry of this style of dome, and I'm calling it the quad dome or grid-based dome, for no other reason that the dome is done into quadrants, and like whether I'm going to say 4 even quadrants or quarters, and the drawing of it is based upon a grid. I'm not that original, people, so that's why. And I know that there is one person that would like to get their teeth into a project in their spring. They must be in the northern hemisphere because it ain't spring where I am when I'm making this. Quite chilly. But I'm reluctant. No, I'm quite happy for that to be the case. I can give them some more information, and I will. But I'm reluctant to give anything out of sequence because I want to allow the person to, or the people watching over time, to understand my thinking. That's why it's a diary type of presentation. Lots of videos, I can tell you that, many of which are dead boring or even dead ends. I'll acknowledge that. But as of, and this is May 2026, I think I've got a pretty bloody good handle on this type of dome. Just saying. And it allows now for the examination of, and if you've been looking and wondering, a different approach to the dome entirely, but still being built upon the original points of the normal dome, the one up here on the left-hand side. So, why did I change? Well, I changed into, this is the last or latest iteration. I had started this some 6 months ago. I have not been in front of the computer for the geodesic side of things. I've been concentrating elsewhere, distracted as well, and I've been away. So this was probably drawn up late 2025, early beginning of the year 26. So yeah, it will also be introduced, I hope, soon into the sequence of videos. I've got a lot of videos, people, honestly. And as I said, and I'll emphasise now, some of them are just dead boring. I'll probably indicate that on the description under the title for you to consider. Some, if not all of the videos will have kernels of information that may be relevant or pertinent to an individual. I don't know what your type of dome is, but I think the approach I'm taking to be able to draw it within SketchUp is going to be helpful. Very, very basic. It is not really geometry based, as is many other traditional or conventional domes. This is very, very much a, how would you say? Oh, look, I can't even choose a name for it, but it's pretty darn simple. It meets all the requirements of a dome, so yay, but it also, in this case, has the alternate way of drawing it or looking at the domes as not having I'm bouncing around a bit, I know, not a hexagon and pentagon, but a hexagon and square that's required for this style of dome. It can also, these same points can be divided through this area here to create a rectangle, which I've got in this example and this one. They use exactly the same points that the conventionally drawn dome would have. This one in orange, the struts in orange, is slightly different in that and I think this is a really, really good way of doing it, that the rectangle created by those, the alternate, connection of the dots, or the points, apexes, is evenly spaced. The division is spaced each way. So this strut here is the same as this one, as this one, as this one, both in dimension and very probably in, in shape. I'd have to examine that a little bit more, but I think that's fair. It also therefore means that once you have assembled this particular the rectangle with the triangles in it, That's one separate entity. You make 4 of them and you join them together, and then you can mount them on the base, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and of course infill the top piece created by the top chord of each of those rectangles. Very, very simple. So this strut here times 16 means that it's a lot easier to construct. You infill the, as I said, as you make the 4 rectangles and you join them together, it leaves a void here which you infill with the other 4 struts. Very, very simple. The bases are going to be considerably easier to build. Still contemplating how I do that for construction, a logical approach, but I'm also allowing for the fact that you can either have the dome open in the front like this, which is more conventional, or filled in like this, which is my preference. The structural, and this is where I shy away from prescribing, but I describe the fact that this particular hub, this one I'm circling, or this one in yellow and blue, I'm a little bit paranoid about. And therefore, the move away from the center steel hub was part of that logic, and towards the plates. The plates will be made up of, in most cases, the way I'm looking at it, 3mm sheet material, either top, bottom, middle, or a combination. In this particular hub, it probably would be a combination, top and bottom. That will neutralize a lot of the flexion and deformation that could occur at this point, because you have no supporting structure, and like in a conventional dome, and a lot of the pressure would go through this hub. Now, I've seen domes made of a similar size. This one happens to be 6 meters square. I've seen it made of a similar size, and they use way lighter hub construction here. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying I would never do it that way. I'm doing it this way because I'm a bit of a nervous Nelly. My background is as a professional builder, and have had an interest in domes since I was about 16 or 17. And I can tell you what, I'm not that age now. So, having infilled let's just hide this. Hide the honeycomb side of things. Yeah, there's a lot of it. Oops. Right. Establishing a base on all 4 corners permits, let's just hide that sort of construction. It is inherently stable. The way it's built, it won't flex. It's inherently stable. Or as stable as you could possibly want in this scenario when it's isolated. When you add the top rectangle, or in fact you could say, well, I'm going to back out there. There's a way of explaining it. When you do that, you've got your top or roof on your base. So they are viewed in my thinking as separate. It's just, but it means that if I have a stable base here, the pressures on this joint almost disappear. And this would be a good way to infill a dome anyway. Now, at this point, to the opposing or opposite point, let's go to plan view and take out the perspective. It's straight through. So this one can still be divided up into different quadrants, not simply in quarters. Let's just back out here. See this? You can see that the line here can be truncated through here if necessary. and then abutted to a building, structure, or another dome at that point, if you wished. It also means that it can be separated. Let's go to this one. It can be separated through the middle point here and extended out to make not a square base but a rectangular base. That's possible, no problem. However, my now new and preferred method of drawing and creating it means that through this particular line, it is no longer straight, because I have equalized the size of the struts, or the division of the rectangle, to make it more ergonomic and, well, kind of pleasing to the eye. It's no longer straight. So there's that downside. If you want to make it straight, just revert back to this particular version of the model. Okay, the parallel projection. So that's that there. Simple, straightforward, and easy to draw. I will be making more drawings in detail for you to follow, because as I understand, the chap that made a comment said he uses Fusion 360. I don't have no interest in purchasing or developing understanding. I work with SketchUp very, very well. This is still the free version, so if you've got access to it, use it, because it's bloody good. And I will be getting the full version, the professional version. I don't do this professionally. I'm doing it as an interest. This is a hobby. So that's that aspect of it. Yeah, so I'll be able to step through the video. I think I lost train of thought there. But I'll be able to step through future videos showing how you draw very, very basic, accurate, easy models to do the rest of your development on. And I can help. Yeah. The other side of it, yeah, that's where I was going. You may wish to use the web-based version. I've not used it. I don't think it will be too restricted in its capability, and you'd wind up being able to do this model as well. I'm guessing without any justification in saying that, or confidence in fact. The plates are very, very simple. And as you see them here, this is a wee bit of the work that I've done on them. A flat sheet, and from SketchUp, you could print them out. Getting them to scale would be interesting exercise, but once you have determined how to do that, you print out this pattern with your printer, or you take it to a professional printing outlet. One of the stores will probably do it. And if you can print them, enlarge and shrink to the right dimension, you then have everything necessary to take into the workshop, place on a sheet of steel, and mark out, cut, whatever, your individual plates. Fairly simple, I would suggest. And it would also have the points at which you will bend the tabs, or the wings, or whatever you want to call them, the star points, for that particular hub. This one here, you might see, is made up of two colours, because it is made up of two plates. It does not have 8, star, or whatever you want to call it, plates or tabs. It has 4, making this type of dome. This is the very top one for the square at the top. This is for the foot. This is for the middle piece in the front of the dome. And this one is for some other one which I can't remember. Where is it? Oh, that one. The intersection of the struts in the rectangle. And of course, this one here is this one where it's very, very busy, and it's got 8 struts going into it. That's a lot of struts. So having that done together, having that built in 2 separate plates makes life a whole lot easier. Plus, if you want to follow the dihedral angles or heights of the struts to make the dihedral angle issue a little bit more accurate, you can do so, because the struts that's shown here in, like for the red plate, are naturally lower slightly than the ones shown here. So we're actually following with the plate the actual structure itself. Dihedral angles for a lot of people won't be an issue. If you're putting a flexible cover over this, of whatever, a tarpaulin of whatever type, then dihedral angles become something that you don't have to worry about. If, however, you want to clad the dome in more rigid material, it may become an issue. So I'm trying to address that. I'm trying to think ahead, and in particular, no, I don't need that. Whether I've got the battens, no, I don't think. Struts, honeycomb, rotor. No, I don't have the battens in this model, but I'm going to probably affect the dihedral angles in the areas that they are required using over battens, something that will be able to be attached to the dome rather than having to try and shape the struts themselves. That's my thinking. Just to the right here, I indicate how they what do you call it? Come on, David. The plates can actually be shaped into the angle. Pretty straightforward. You need to make up a bending bar or brake here that can be easily made in the workshop. You can bolt it to the plate and bend to the correct angle, because each one has its own specific angle, as we all know. And it may well be that the plates can then be joined together, top and bottom, held together in a rigid system, just using a tube with a bolt and nut sort of arrangement. It also means that there is the possibility that you have the plate in the middle of the strut. I think that is a very nice look. 3mm plate, not particularly hard to bend in these sizes, and also relatively easy to cut with a handheld grinder with a fine 1mm type disc, or a metal cutting blade in the jigsaw. Tickle it up, sand it, grind it, whatever you have to do to make it nice, and then you can treat it with whatever, paint, galvanizing, whatever you want to make it look pretty. So yeah, 3mm plate, steel, yeah, it's pretty, it's sturdy. I have seen a similar approach using 2mm, and I'm going, nah, not for me. But 2mm plate top and bottom, yeah, that was actually going to be pretty darn solid. So that's something else that you would need to consider and evaluate yourself. 3mm seems to be reasonable, and that's probably what I'll be going with. I've worked with 3mm in the past. Yes, it's stiff. No, it's not that difficult. So there's all of that. Yeah, so that's what those grey bits are. It's just the bending tool or jig or guide, whatever, and you would bend this part here would be levered down to bend the actual plate tab itself. And I've just indicated that that's where the struts are, to show that. Okay, so I was going to put this up for only a week or so. So for the one person that has looked at it, the other videos and is following along, but I'm going to leave it up. I'll insert it. It will be chronologically out of order, but it will be in the sequence, perhaps to whet the appetite and to encourage the continued following of what I'm doing. This is these videos are titled pretty much like the drawing is, Dome. Pretty basic. I'm not original, but there are other playlists or groupings that will be loaded. And one such one is called Dave's Diary Update, and it is literally just me making comment out in the workshop. Fortunately, I prepared this earlier. This is the thing that I'm working on at the moment, and it permits me to use the miter saw in a particular way that almost seems redundant and backward thinking, but with this particular, the MFT style of top, and this little thing here permits me to create angles that an ordinary miter saw can't. Now, I've got one of the better miter saws available, the big 12-inch or the 305mm Makita. It is a very capable miter saw, but I'm almost backing out of the capability that the saw has for this in mind of making struts for the geodesic dome, which has very specific and, as a preference, accurate requiring cuts. Many times I look at the videos and I think, geez, the guys are actually doing a really great job. Don't get me wrong, I'm impressed, but it is pretty Heath Robinson. And they still get their done. Put it this way, they will have their dome, live in it, work in it, tent in it, whatever, while I'm still talking about it. I'll accept that as a criticism of what I'm doing. But I have particular bent. My background requires me, behoves me to go down this path, and it's what you get. So this is quite an involved but very simple approach to what we're doing, and I'll be making videos on that. Other videos will be so that'll be under the Dave's Diary updates, and I'll be alluding to this, or actually focusing in on this a lot in regards to the geodesic dome. I've got other projects that then go from Dave's Diary into, which will be titled Projects, and it will be describing what I do. So therefore, there's a whole amalgam of videos available, up and coming, that will help people to go down the path that they want to do. Maybe it's not geodesic domes. Can I introduce you to something else? Why, yes, I can. Well, here we go. Here's a video that you might find beneficial. And that is why I'm reluctant to start going out of sequence the dome videos. So, there's all that. Is it a good idea, bad idea? Yeah, well, don't really ask me. I'm just doing what I do because I enjoy it. And I talk a lot. You might have noticed. Right, there's all that. Well, that's almost half an hour coming up, and that's way, way too long. But I hope it continues your desire to follow the videos, and when I start doing these ones again in the not too distant future, hopefully it is of sufficient clarity and quality that you go, oh, Dave is doing us a service after all, even if he is a bit long-winded about it. So there you go. That's it. I'm going to wander off, put some more wood on the fire because it's flipping cold here at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, hope that's of benefit to you. If not, can't help that. Anyway, no, I do hope you find it if you're following along. Yeah. Thing is, I need to be able to teach you. I can't teach Fusion 360. I can teach you, or show at least, the method that I have adopted here, and it works very, very well. Okay, that's it. Wandering off now. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully. Okay, bye.